another thing that's popped up, and I'd like to get your actual take on this, is the tornado cash situation where centralized government are encroaching on DeFi. Can I get your opinion on that?
Yeah, look, I have a pretty strong opinion on this one. It's kind of frustrating for me. There's a couple of things that come out of this. One is I call it collective apathy. So people will only do to you what you allow them to do to you, right? So if you actually push back on certain things, then you're showing some resistance to some of these changes. But what tends to happen is we get this news, and there's this collective apathy, like, oh yeah, well, we kind of expected that, so we just accept it. Now I know that doesn't represent everyone in the community, and I know that there's a lot of people appalled by this. But I kind of feel like, gee, like we should be doing a hell of a lot more to push back on some of this stuff. And unfortunately, and this is just prevalent within this community, not this community, but just more broadly in crypto. And that is, we're so divided amongst ourselves. Whereas all of a sudden, we've actually got a situation. For me, Tornado Cash represents privacy, and everyone should have access to privacy. That shouldn't be something that's taken away the way it has been. For a multiple number of reasons. But to me, the biggest issue is we can't allow these things to continue. And before we know it, if we don't actually take a stand, other things will start to fall away. So there'll be further encroaching into cryptocurrencies, and particularly DeFi, where I can see the day that if we allow these sort of things to continue, there'll be a number of things that will start to impact DeFi more broadly. And I get this sense that unless we take a stand, it'll just continue. Now, how do you take a stand? Well, my view is I've been a long-time supporter of, there's a lobby group called the Chamber of Digital Commerce, and I think the work they do is very solid. There's a lady by the name of Perry-Ann Boring. She does a really good job in just lobbying government on behalf of crypto. And I think we need those advocacy groups for the industry. So how do we support them? Well, I think there's obviously financial support, but we should be doing a lot more in a collective sense. So if you have an opportunity look up some of the other lobby groups. So it doesn't have to be just Chamber of Digital Commerce, but my suggestion would be, let's band together and actually really come together as a group rather than this divided community. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean the Hex or the Pulse community, although sometimes you'd think we're divided. The reality is it's too easy to throw people under the bus when in reality, we all have the same goal in mind. Some of the journeys are a little bit different, and unfortunately the whole sector there's a lot of scams and it's rampant with that sort of thing. But ultimately we need to come together for some of these issues. And for me, Tornado Cash is one classic example where if we have collective apathy on this one, it's going to encroach on other areas. And before we know it, crypto is going to be impacted in a really negative way. So I feel like I'm on my soapbox a little bit, but I do believe that we need to do something in a collective sense. And I think lobby groups is a good way of actually doing that. And look, Perry-Ann's a real advocate for crypto, and I'd urge anyone that's interested in supporting that group. It's, again, Chamber of Digital Commerce. Look them up. I think they do some good work, and it would be really good for us as a community to support the work they're doing, because ultimately we'll be impacted by that.